The Marvel Cinematic Universe is rapidly expanding, meaning at any point they could take a fresh batch of comic characters and turn them into big-screen stars. The problem is, while some of Marvel's comic book characters are truly awesome, fitting them into the film universe might be impossible. Here's a look at some Marvel characters the movies will never get right. FrankenCastle. The Punisher is one of the most famous Marvel characters ever, a regular guy named Frank Castle with big guns who shoots his way through the Marvel universe one bad guy at a time. But what happens when he runs into bad guys with superpowers? That's the question Marvel answered when Wolverine's evil son hacked the Punisher to death. Of course, since this happened in the pages of those wacky funny books, he was soon stitched back together as a Frankenstein-style zombie. Frank Castle returned from beyond the grave to exact bloody vengeance as FrankenCastle. It was awesome, but it's doubtful that we'll ever see that storyline actually play out in a movie or on a Netflix series. Though, if Elektra can return from the dead… Nextwave. You know how Scary Movie and Airplane made fun of whole genres of movies? Nextwave was basically that for Marvel Comics, with the bonus that it actually took place in Marvel continuity, mocking half a century of goofy stories. It sounds great, and Deadpool proved that you can spoof the superhero genre while still making fun of a cool superhero film.
It's a big house. It's funny that I only ever see two of you. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford another X-Men.
Still, Nextwave just doesn't seem to fit the style of the current MCU, and even with 14 movies so far, there's still not quite enough material yet to properly mock it. Maybe in another decade the world will finally be ready for the joy of watching a dragon stuff a superhero down his pants. Throg. So, there's a tiny frog who also has the powers of Thor, including an itsy-bitsy super cute little magic hammer. Naturally, his name is Throg, and he goes around saving frogs from alligators, giant rats, and Thanos. Eventually, Throg teamed up with other super-powered animals to form the Pet Avengers. And by this point, it should be pretty self-explanatory why you'll never see Throg in a major motion picture, or even a minor one. Speaking of superpowered amphibians, that brings us to Manphibian. A blatant ripoff of the creature from the Black Lagoon. The main thing Manphibian has going for him is, well, his name. Beyond that, though, he's kind of all over the place. Turns out he's an alien who ended up on Earth while chasing down the being who killed his wife. Then he somehow joined S.H.I.E.L.D. Considering Marvel hasn't even figured out how to fit Namor into their movies, it's a good bet that Manphibian isn't very high on their list. The Beyonder. Given that the crossover Battle Royale Secret Wars is one of the most popular and beloved Marvel comics Marvel ever published, it might seem like a no-brainer to introduce the Beyonder to the MCU, an omnipotent and all-powerful being from another reality. The Beyonder is basically a living MacGuffin used to bring the other characters together.
The Beyonder.
Unfortunately, blank slates make for boring characters, which was proven in Secret Wars 2, which featured the Beyonder being taught important lessons about humanity, like how to poop. Considering he's both infinitely powerful and infinitely boring, the Beyonder is just a can of worms there's no point in opening. Wiccan and Speed. Founding members of the Young Avengers, Wiccan and Speed would seem to be perfect candidates to eventually show up in either the films or the TV shows that comprise the extended Marvel Cinematic Universe. Wiccan has interesting magic powers, Speed can run really, really fast, and they're both cool, relatable teenagers. So what's the problem? Well, their backstories are kind of the most insane thing ever. Because these twin brothers are magical semi-hallucinations created by the Scarlet Witch and the Vision, who is an android, having sex. While Vision and Scarlet Witch are on the path to a relationship in the films, they're still a little ways away from having teenage sons invented through mutant sorcery. And that's just fine. Spider-Man Noir. Imagine if Batman were also somehow Spider-Man at the same time, and you have a pretty good idea of both why Spider-Man Noir is both totally awesome and why it will never appear in the movies. Spider-Man Noir takes the usual Spidey gang and reimagines them as characters in a 1930s detective pulp novel, with Peter Parker playing the tough-as-nails reporter who cracks down on shady underworld villains. It's great, but it's way too high concept for Hollywood, and would likely just confuse everyone. A direct-to-DVD cartoon is about the best fans could hope for with this one. Eternity. In a sense, you could argue that Eternity has already appeared in every Marvel movie ever made, because Eternity is the living embodiment of reality itself. Therefore, all the other characters and worlds in the MCU exist somewhere inside Eternity's body. Like maybe in his elbow, for instance, or in the spleen. Some of the more psychedelic sequences in Doctor Strange hint at the possibility of an appearance by Eternity. But then again, you might need to be high to see it. You might just be too far out for the regular world to understand, man. Penance. This emo basket case started life as a fun bundle of joy named Speedball. He could shoot bouncy little balls out of his body, and that was kind of it. But during the events of the Civil War comic book storyline, he accidentally contributed to an entire school being destroyed. Reacting with all the emotional maturity of a drunken 14-year-old, he renamed himself Penance and put on battle armor with the spikes on the inside in order to punish himself. There are so many reasons Marvel isn't going to do this, not the least of which is the fact that in the MCU, the explosion that drove the cinematic Civil War created by Penance took place at a Wakandan embassy instead of a school, and nobody named Speedball was anywhere near it. Plus, he just doesn't fit into the Marvel style. Pretty sure Zack Snyder loves this guy, though.
Dear Blade.
Save Martha!
The leader. He was created to be the perfect foil to the Incredible Hulk. While Hulk is a mindless brute with incredible physical strength, the leader is a physical weakling who gained incredible mental powers and superintelligence after also being exposed to gamma radiation. It's a classic supervillain setup.
I am the most advanced mind the world has ever seen. I think on a level normal human beings cannot begin to comprehend.
One problem, though. They already tried to introduce the leader in 2008's The Incredible Hulk and did a pretty bad job of it. And then the character just vanished. Maybe because Marvel got a look at how DC handled their giant-headed freak villain Hector Hammond and realized this was just a stupid idea that'd be better off swept under a rug.
How wonderful that all it took for you to grow up was the end of the world.
Sorry, leader fans. Now, all of these other characters at least stand a, say, 15 or 20% chance to actually show up in a movie or TV show someday. You probably can't say the same for the last guy on this list. Marcus, the Werewolf Centaur Symbiote. In case his name didn't make his backstory clear, Marcus is a centaur from ancient Greece who was bitten by a werewolf and then bonded with the same kind of alien symbiote that created venom. His only weakness? Diabetes. There's about 9,000 reasons he would never fit into a Marvel movie, but the simplest reason is, how would you fit all that explanation into a single film? Of course, Marvel did manage to do a movie about a raccoon and a talking tree, so, never say never.
Now repeat back what I just said.
I am Groot.
No!
Thanks for watching. Click the grunge icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.